Hey, all you millennials and really mature 12-year-olds. This is your co-host, Steve. Welcome to the Plain Donuts Podcast. Enjoy the show. So, we are going to start with our regularly scheduled work. That's where we have two fish bowls. One is a consistent fishbowl of quote-unquote games. The other is a fishbowl of rotating topics that we just decide during the week or whatever. Oh, this would be funny to talk about. This would be funny to talk about it. We write it down, throw it in the fishbowl. So, Alicia has chosen a topic.
I have. And I'm really excited about this because I wrote this a while ago and I actually forgot about it. And it's British people using American accents. So, let me explain. So, I'm a big fan of House, MD, the show, with Dr. House, MD, the doctor, and that's Hugh Laurie.
Yeah.
He's a British guy.
Yeah, sure.
And he has this really great, like, gravelly
He's got a really
American
good voice,
accent. And he's amazing. Like, you'll watch this and you're like, there's no way that this guy's English.
You can definitely pick it out, though.
Oh,
if
really?
you know, after you know, you can start hearing like
little
things,
things?
like not the R isn't quite hard enough sometimes, and like step your game up, Mr. Laurie.
And then, so I was watching the trailer for Doctor Strange, and that's with Benedict Cumberbatch. And he has a very similar style of Hugh Laurie with making his voice like gravelly and like I am disillusioned with the world and blah blah blah. And so I was like, is that just like their go-to thing as a British actor to think, oh, I need to just be this really gravelly, like, angry sounding person to sound American? And I don't know, that made me think a little bit about, like, other, like, when American actors use, like, other accents, which we're pretty terrible at most of the time. Yeah. I'm really sorry the rest of the world.
You all know my Scottish accent, though. I mean, top notch as they come, but...
Or your Louis Armstrong.
No, yeah, my Southern Louis Armstrong. Henry VIII, who just happens to be like a very colloquial American person.
But, I don't know. It's just interesting. I thought about, because, who was it? Renee Zellweger? She does Bridget Jones's Diary movie. And is she American? Or is she Canadian? I don't even know. I think she's from this continent.
I'm sure she is.
Steve's going to look it up really quick, but...
I think,
she is
American, yeah.
American, yeah. And then when she does a British accent, I don't know if
it's good.
It's good.
I have no idea.
I don't know. It's
what this shows though is that Americans don't actually know.
Yeah,
and so like
we're kind of alone out by ourselves.
I'm pretty sure like in Hollywood when somebody does a bad English accent, people are like, it's all right. Americans don't know.
That's true. Because I was thinking about this too with so there's the new Beauty and the Beast movie coming out, and there's a section where I think it's Josh Gad as Lumiere, and he's like, do you think she could be the one? And I'm just like, that is such a bad French accent. Like, do people... And no one was talking about it. No one's talking about this. I'm the only one. I feel like I'm the only one. I'm an island in this. Yeah. Like, it's really bad. It sounds bad. It doesn't sound good.
Is Lumiere the lamp?
He's like the French candlestick guy. Yeah. And so...
That's really interesting. Lumiere. Lume.
Yes.
Lumens. The Latin word for light, right?
Cogsworth is the clock, so cogs, like in a machine.
Yeah, interesting.
So, and there's a dresser, and I don't know the name of the dresser, but I'm sure.
I think it's Dressier.
Dressier,
but just joking. That's not the name.
Something, but
Lumiere, Cogsworth, and Dressier.
Dressier, the dresser.
Dressier.
They're all French, except for Cogsworth. He's English, I think. But anyways, American, like, re-adaptation, imagining of Beauty and the Beast. the French accent is really bad, and I'm hoping it's going to be.
Are you
not
generally
so bad.
this passionate about like the quality of Disney remakes? Are you usually hopeful that they're
No,
really
never.
good?
But this, for some reason, really bothered me because nobody else seemed to notice it, or if they did notice it, they didn't care. So
my brother dated a girl in high school who was full on British.
Oh.
Like, you would go to her family's house and like all of them were speaking English in the English way.
yeah, in the proper
But
way, as
she
they like
herself like put on an American accent. Hey,
Weird.
I'm not here to judge. I don't know why, but it's just like,
to say. Why would you want to trade out something that's like? Worse?
I know, because it's awesome. Like, people who have English accents, like, I hung out with this guy. Oh, I forgot his name, but anyway, he's a guy that did some work with my company, but he works for another company. We did some contracting, but he has an English accent.
Yeah.
He's actually, he's an American citizen, but he got his citizenship later.
Okay.
So he has a really strong English accent, and I was just like, oh man,
so cool.
I feel like the coolest person in the world hanging out with this
Yeah.
English guy right now. So like, I don't know why you would want to throw that away.
Yeah, it's like if you were to go to a dealership and you're like, I want to trade in my 2017 Tesla for a 1998 Honda Civic. That sounds like a really great trade.
I just heard they're really reliable.
And it's like, no, why would you do that?
Oh man.
The Tesla's sophisticated and cool and interesting, but maybe that's just our interpretation of British accents. Because
Well, it is, for sure, right?
Yeah, because I'm sure. Well, maybe Canadians were like they might think British accents are equally as interesting.
Maybe.
Which we talked about our Canadian audience before, which is zero Canadian audience. But if you're out there, Canadian audience, thanks
You know
for
what that
listening.
means is that our listeners got to step their games up and
Yeah.
get their Canadian friends to listen. We're a very Canadian-friendly podcast. We know all the celebrities.
Yeah, Jason Trudeau, Justin. Is it Justin?
Justin,
Oh my
I
gosh,
don't
it's
know.
Justin. I'm so sorry, Canada. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Isn't Brian Boitano Canadian?
Oh, I don't know.
Let's see.
Let's find out. He is from California.
Oh,
Dang it.
Dang it!
Dang
I
it.
got my Canadian figures wrong. I know. Justin Bieber is though.
Yeah.
He's my man.
And apparently Montreal is like the worst place compared to other
I
Canadian
confessed
places.
to some people recently, speaking of Canada, that I really liked some Justin Bieber songs. It's because on the one post that we made for people to vote for the song intro, I put a Bieber song and somebody was like, who put that Bieber song there? And I was like,
me.
It was me, because that's a good
That
song.
track is lit, okay?
I don't care what anyone thinks. Sometimes I like Bieber songs.
Yeah.
Who cares? I don't like Baby. That doesn't make all of his songs bad,
Yeah.
you know?
He's got his newest album is actually not bad. Pretty good, like workout listening.
Really?
You know, like, and yeah, Steve.
I'll have to check it out.
I think Steve, you run on the treadmill.
The treadmill. Yes.
And so that'd be.
My sister asked
good.
me, how can you do that for so long? Because she likes to run, but she doesn't like to do it. And I'm like, here's what I do. I like put on a show and I try to forget that I'm running. Like, it's really better
Here's
than
how
being
I run.
outside.
I, take a lot of heroin and opioids, and I just pretend like I'm not running at all. If I can't feel, I can't tell that I'm running.
Oh man, that would be really bad though, because like if you really were able to find some combination of drugs where you didn't like it decreased your ability to feel your body getting
Yeah.
tired, but also you still had
Like the
the
stamina.
gumption to be like, I'm gonna run. You might just end up like basically
Pretty
killing
sure that's
yourself.
meth. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Because I think when you take meth, and for all of those who have taken meth, I'm very sorry if I get this wrong, or if you have a really great knowledge of drugs and their reactions and symptoms,
Got
great
a lot
for
of
you.
personal experience with meth.
Yeah. You stay awake for like days at a time. I think it was invented by the German, the Nazis. It was invented by the Nazis, confirmed by our producer, to keep their soldiers awake for days at a time to make sure they don't get tired or
Man.
hungry. So if
That
you
is
want to run,
terrible.
maybe because Utah is really popular for runners, right? And Utah also has a really large
Yeah, that's
meth
true.
problem, so maybe that's why. Like,
Yeah,
I really
it's
don't
just-
want to feel.
It's the blend of it's the number of runners to the number of meth users, like they
It's pretty-
increase
yeah.
together.
There's
Yeah.
some really weird connotations, some things happening in our statistics that we can match up.
Yes.
Correlation.
Correlations are always a causation.
Yes. So,
that's how I think about it.
Oh, man. Well, do you want to pick the next topic, Steve? Or did you have something you were
sure.
to say?
Let's go on. Let's see if I pick a real lit topic.
Lit topic.
Why did I write this one down? Awards?
Awards. Oh, was that written down when it was the Emmys or
maybe,
or just awards in general for doing something?
You know what? Just congrats out there to anybody who's gotten an award recently.
Yeah.
You really deserved it, and they're not rigged.
And you worked really, really hard, I'm sure.
Did you know that
it's rigged?
Did you know about that? That for 3 years running, Trump complained that the Emmys were rigged because The Apprentice didn't win one.
Oh, no. Oh, Donald.
Yeah, this is very documented behavior, apparently.
Wrong.
Okay.
No.
We can't continue down this track. I already feel really guilty for having a whole episode of political talk. Part of me is I'm so sorry, everybody, don't leave.
Plain donuts. Political donuts.
Plain donuts. Not so plain this time. Very opinionated donuts.
Very opinionated.
But I mean, okay. I gotta say, though, the guy, so Daveed Diggs is the guy who played Jefferson and also Lafayette in Hamilton. Those, when you cast that character, apparently you cast them as the same person because they're never on screen together. It's really interesting too because Jefferson and Lafayette knew each other. Because Jefferson was the ambassador to France,
and Lafayette is French.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah. So really interesting. But anyway, Daveed Diggs played that character in the Broadway run of the original cast of Hamilton, and he won, I think, Best Supporting Actor or something like that. For
which one? For both?
For both, yeah.
Oh, okay.
when you win an award like that, it's because the character is intended to be both.
I see. Okay.
I think he definitely won a Tony for that. But it's really interesting because Daveed Diggs is he probably has some musical theater history, but I don't think he was in any other Broadway shows before Hamilton.
He actually has a really interesting, experimental band, hip hop group.
Yeah.
And it's really good.
Right.
I couldn't tell you the name of it, but my coworker introduced me to it.
Yeah, he's actually a really good rapper.
He's a really good artist. It's called, we're looking it up. It is...
His only thing in Wikipedia is Hamilton. Let's see, music.
Shoot. Maybe we could do a Hamilton 8-bit song because we're talking about Hamilton a lot on this.
Oh, that's a good
podcast.
Idea. That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah. So
clipping is their name.
Yes. So tweet us your favorite Hamilton track, and we'll make that into a.
We'll make it happen.
I say we, but it's actually Steve.
It's okay.
And I feel really bad. Because I don't have any of the cool equipment
I really need to start doing it on Monday nights instead of Tuesday nights. Because it ends up being my Tuesday night is just a panicked run trying to get through the edit of this and creating a song or whatever. So if I do it on Monday nights, I have a night to do the song and then one to put everything together. And it's a little more spread out. But yeah. So anyway, awards.
Yes.
I just have to say that's awesome. Apparently... Looking at his Wikipedia, Daveed Diggs was in some other musical theater stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it off-Broadway stuff?
Yeah, so he was in a U.S. tour for a thing called Word Becomes Flesh.
Okay.
And then a bunch of regional stuff.
Okay.
Which are all
Tempest.
TBA.
Okay.
Whatever years and then Hamilton. So
cool.
Not really your regular Broadway actor, but... He
cool.
won a Tony, which is all the other people who are probably really seasoned Broadway actors are why this guy getting a Tony? He also has a record for the most words in a song on Broadway.
Really?
Yeah, because the fastest rap is by Lafayette in Hamilton. And I was listening to it the first time, I was like, why'd they give the French guy the best rap on the whole thing? It's really good.
It's fast. Yeah,
it's super fast. Anyway, Hamilton. Hamilton is really good, and the
Yeah.
Hamilton documentary was very good as well.
Is that the PBS documentary?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
you
really
can stream
good.
it right now.
Yeah.
So
Shout out to Lin-Manuel Miranda. Please tweet us.
Yeah,
I know you're on Twitter all the time.
I regularly listen to My Brother and Me,
Mm-hmm.
which is another really, really good quality podcast. If you like sort of absurdist humor, which is like right up my alley. So, but they had, it must have been a year or two ago, well before Hamilton was out. They had Lin-Manuel Miranda on the
weird.
podcast. Like
Well,
he talks
had,
about.
In the Heights,
Yeah.
which also won Tony
yeah.
for Best Musical. So,
Did it?
Yeah, I think it was like 2014.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
That's
it's pretty
awesome.
good. So he's on a roll. Lin-Manuel is on a roll.
I know that dude is.
What's he gonna write next?
You know what's great about Lin-Manuel is like he's kind of like
He's like a Renaissance man. I
Yeah.
would prefer it. Is that
yeah,
how I would think of him
but the
as?
thing about him is just looking at him, if you just go, oh, it's Lin-Manuel Miranda,
Yeah.
that's a guy. He's just very kind of an average looking guy, right? Like
Yeah.
he's not like the guy that plays Wolverine or whatever.
yeah.
You know,
Hugh Jackman?
You don't look at him and go, what a handsome fellow. I want to have my body look like that guy's body. Which I do when I look at Hugh Jackman. But Lin-Manuel is like super talented and really, really smart. And if you've ever heard him freestyle rap, it's really good.
We should see if he does freelance. If he does that, we could contact him on Twitter and ask, hey, would you be interested in doing some freelance rapping?
Freelance
for us?"
rapping? He gets paid big money for that,
I know.
I'm sure.
Oh, come on, Lin-Manuel. Help a brother out. And a sister. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that because
Neither of us are Puerto
neither of us
Rican.
are Puerto Rican. I'm half something, which
Indian?
is, like Guyanese, which is Indian-ish.
Yeah.
Indian-ish, West Indian, which is closer to Puerto Rico than
That's a really funny...
Finland or whatever.
That's a
I
really
don't know.
funny thing, though. Like, it's not closer... Is it closer to Puerto Rico than Finland?
I think so. It's in South America, so...
Oh, what's South American?
Guyana.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's confusing.
I really thought you were like Indian from India.
Oh, no. It's my history of my ethnicity is really complex.
Wait, so when you make curry and stuff...
Yeah. It's Indian curry. It's a Guyanese style. Okay, so
Wow.
a brief history of the country of Guyana. And I'm
Right.
sorry if
I like
this is
it.
wrong. But,
I
so...
like when you're wrong.
Which is often, but...
Me too. So many people are going to be mad about what I said about politics.
There's
Sorry,
a Coldplay
guys.
song about that.
Yeah. Yellow? Is that the one?
It's called Politic.
Oh, anyway. Great. Good.
And Steve was all yellow, which now when I say that out loud sounds very racist. So I'm really sorry, everybody.
In the middle of a discussion about ethnicity, we're like... Okay, so tell me about...
Guyana is a country in South America. It was founded by the Dutch / Spanish a little bit. So that's why they have... Their capital's New Amsterdam. So that's why it's kind of like Dutch influence.
Sure.
But the people there, their primary language is English. It's not Spanish. It's the only non-speaking Spanish country in South America.
Sure.
It's considered part of the Caribbean.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why.
Hey, Alicia!
Yeah.
That's how I'm gonna talk to you from now on. What you doing, Alicia? Do you feel like you're at home now, Alicia?
I feel very uncomfortable. But it's
This has been Generalizing with Steve. Okay.
there's
so
a
anyway.
large Chinese and Indian population there.
Okay.
So they celebrate Indian holidays and like other and Muslim holidays
Uh-huh.
too. So they have they have curry and roti and rice and dal puri and like all these Indian dishes
Uh-huh.
in South America, considered to be part of the Caribbean. And they also have they call it the West Indies. So
Okay.
So what West
Yeah,
Indian?
I've heard of the
and it's
phrase
not like
the West Indies.
yeah. So but not like in reference to Jamaica or anything like that. It's more like specific, and I don't think Guyanese people like Jamaican people and vice versa. And I couldn't tell you why. I don't know. That's very.
So you feel if I start giving you a Jamaican accent, you might feel kind of like
I'm just like, ooh, yeah. Yeah.
Our people don't like one another.
Yeah. Steve is very not Jamaican.
Nope.
I couldn't tell you what Steve is.
Mostly English.
But I could tell you for sure that he is not Jamaican. But anyways.
Although, my cousins recently were saying that, like, if you go to the eastern U.S., a lot of matinees are black. And I'm like, really?
Oh, interesting.
And then, racist remarks are made thereafter.
So that's
about
the end of
body
that conversation. And you're just like, well, that's the end of that. That was a fun conversation while it lasted.
I know,
before it got really racist.
Yeah, I was like, oh, cool. We might have some African American or what, or just African, I guess, if you're speaking historically. But that's kind of neat. And then it's like, just that might explain these body parts you have. And I'm like,
no.
Why did we do this?
Why are we talking about this?
Why?
Anyways, so,
racism is real.
So, yeah. So technically, Indian. Like, when you're talking about ethnicity...
Right, yeah.
There's ethnicity and then there's race.
Uh-huh.
So I guess race is Indian, ethnicity is
Guyanese. I don't know these
I don't know the terms. I'm really sorry if I'm messing this up. Tumblr, I'm apologizing specifically to you because we have our show on Tumblr too.
We do. That's okay.
Yeah, so there's that.
Cool.
Some history for
No,
you.
it's really cool. Like, I didn't know that you were Guyanese.
Yeah.
And that was, I didn't know Guyana because I'm really good at geography. I didn't know it was in South America.
Yeah,
so because I've heard you talk about like all these Indian style foods before, like curry, and that you learned to cook it from your dad.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Uh-huh.
So I was just like, oh, India.
Yeah.
Like from across the sea.
Yeah.
But nope. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So do you have does your family lineage go back to India then?
Yeah, because I think my last name, which I won't say on the podcast.
I think it's already there.
It's probably already in there, but my last name, it starts with Raj, which is like a very Indian.
That was the other thing, right?
So, and it used to actually be longer before my dad immigrated over, and it used to be longer before then, so it was probably like Rajesh, blah, blah, so it probably went on for a long ways, and it just got shorter and shorter progressively. Because there's some, there's people I'm related to all over the place, and everyone, the family just kind of split up.
Hey, it's Steve, your co-host. Thanks again for listening. We love having listeners that are responsive, and we love hearing from you guys, even if sometimes I get my dumb artistic feelings hurt and go on some crazy tangent about how that segment was about our comedy, not someone else's written comedy. I don't know what I'm saying. But anyway, we love having you, and we love hearing from you. So if you want to get a hold of us, you always can on Facebook. Just search for Plain Donuts, or you can find us on Twitter at Your Plain Donuts. You can also use the hashtag Plain Donuts, and we can find you that way. As you know, we have never been paid anything for doing this show other than your sweet, sweet love. And we've never paid to advertise it. So the only way that we can get out there is for you, yes, you right there, eating your lunch or probably working at a desk or something, for you to tell your friends about it. So do that. If you have a friend you think might like the show, let them know. Anyway, we love any feedback you have, and we relish your listenership. So thanks again, and enjoy the rest of the show. You know what I should do is that Ancestry.com DNA thing.
Ooh, where you spit in the tube?
I guess so, yeah. Sure.
I would like to think that would be a really good thing for us to do on the podcast. That would be really interesting. We could do it and then we can set it in. But I feel like it's visually more interesting rather than if we talk about it. But it might be interesting if we talk about it. So the only thing is if we don't care about spending $100 out of pocket to finance our...
I know, that would be really expensive because we have...
Because we wanted to, sort of thing.
Because we have good sponsors and we're totally bleeding followers right now. Oh, jeez.
It's great. We're going to get sponsored by MSNBC.
It's really bad. It's really...
The Rachel Maddow show?
I feel so bad that I just, like, went off about... Like, I feel bad, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't really know.
You don't have to feel bad about your opinions, because they're your opinions. And...
I just feel bad because this is supposed to be comedy, and I'm, like, railing about politics.
Maybe there's someone who's like, oh, this guy is so wrong, it's hilarious, something. And
that's probably true of most people, honestly. This guy talks like he knows things, but he doesn't.
Oh, man. Yeah. If you unfollow us or unsubscribe, then we don't want you anyway. So, there you go.
Whoa.
We didn't want you anyway.
Nice.
This
is why we can't have nice things. So the next thing I pulled was good burgers philosophy.
Oh, yeah.
Because I bring this up occasionally, and I feel like people get really uptight about language a lot. Like, oh, you have to, okay, so like if I'm talking to you, I can't say, dude, Alicia, because dude is male and you're not. And so like I have to use the correct terminology to refer to your
like
gender,
the correct
right?
pronouns.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Is dude a pronoun?
I don't know what it is.
I'm going to look that
it's
up.
Like it's that guy's a dude. I think it's a noun.
That guy's a dude.
Or that girl's a dude. See, but Good Burger's philosophy, and it's not actually Good Burger's philosophy, it's like Kel's philosophy, I think? Keenan's.
Keenan.
No, Kel's.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they have a song from the Good Burger movie called I'm
She's
a Dude.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm a dude, he's a dude, she's a dude, because we're all dudes, hey! And the backing band is Real Big Fish. Shout out to Real Big Fish, and a throwback to my high school years where I listened to ska music.
Hashtag sponsor us.
Even though I don't listen to your music anymore.
Oh, just kidding. Don't sponsor us.
Maybe I would if you sponsored us.
So I looked it up.
Pay to play listenership. Anyway.
I looked it up. Dude is North American.
Yeah.
It says informal, and it's a noun for a man or a guy.
Right.
And the example is actually really funny. It said, if some dude smacked me, I'd smack him back.
Right. So anyway, like, but for me, and apparently for a lot of Californians, I don't know, I'm not from California, but like, I just use dude very fluidly. Like, I'll be like, oh, hey, dudes.
Yeah.
Or I do man a little bit the same way.
Yeah.
Like, somebody recently did something and I was like, oh, thanks, man. And it was just my friend Danielle, you know? Like, so I just, it's funny because, like, this kind of language stuff is really difficult to talk about. And the other thing about it is like, if you have, like, special language that you want people to use for you, the most extreme example is, like, people who are like, I am dragonborn or whatever, you know, like
I made a sound, so I'm really sorry.
Or like, I'm a wolf. You must call me Wolfman.
Is that your persona, Steve?
Wolfman. Like, it's just really bad. The thing is like, if you have special language that you want people to use for you, and you're not very clear about that from the outset, like, a lot of people are not accustomed to that kind of thing, right? Most people, or maybe not most people, but like, there are people who live their lives in a pretty white bread milquetoast kind of way, where they don't have a lot of different kinds of people that they interact with a lot. So if you go in and you're like, you must call me Wolfman, like, and if they don't, they're like, oh, hey, he's a guy, like you can't get mad about that.
Yeah.
You just can't have these unreasonable expectations for people to speak about you a certain way if you haven't discussed it with them.
Yeah.
And I know, like, people say, well, there's an inherent danger in, like using the...
Misgendering someone.
Yeah, and it's like... Okay, but that can't in any way be my fault, right? Like, if I said, oh... Like, I have a trans friend here, and I said, oh, he likes this, and it's a trans female friend, and she's like, call me she, right? Yeah. Like, if I said the wrong thing and somebody over there is like, that's not a dude, that's a girl, I'm gonna kill that person. That is in no way my fault, right? Like, I didn't make that person do that. Like,
yeah.
So anyway, I just feel like people get really, really, like, wrapped up in that kind of thing. And to be fair, if I'm there and somebody's like inciting violence again or coming into I'm gonna be like, no, this is my friend and you cannot do violence against them.
Do not do violence against them.
I'm here to stop you. Do you have a gun? No? Good. I'll probably win. I watched a lot of fights.
UFC fights. In theory. We'll see what happens.
I know how this works intellectually.
I would really love to watch you fight someone.
I would love to fight someone.
Just because.
Just for fun.
Just for funsies.
I pulled out one of our regular segments. It's From the Floor.
From the floor.
And luckily we have someone on the floor. Floor person, do you have anything to report?
This is a really good podcast.
No, you can't say. You say that every time. Okay.
He said this is a really good podcast. If that wasn't clear enough.
Why don't you stand up and come up over here and just
okay.
talk about what
Who are you voting for, Hillary or Obama?
Obama.
Hillary
We're
or
2008, people.
Repeal the 22nd, bring Obama back.
Yeah. You
I'm
know.
all for the plan where we just clone Teddy Roosevelt and have him fix it.
Here's what we can talk about. So recently, our producer Otto has been watching a lot of this show called Vikings. If you're familiar or unfamiliar with it, it's the History Channel show.
I've heard it's really good.
Vikings,
actually. It's way good.
Yeah, why? So we're watching this, and he's in season 4. And I've never seen any of it before. Have
there ever been any moments where Otto was watching Vikings and just said, no, and changed the channel?
No, it's not an HBO show, so it has yet to come up. So it's a History Channel show, so no nudity.
Be careful about watching Westworld if you do, because you might see some stuff you don't want to see in there.
But,
the nudity in Westworld has so far been, and I'm not really like that kind of stuff in shows doesn't bother me very much.
Yeah.
I don't feel like very conflicted about it. I always watch that kind of stuff with my wife anyway, or if I'm like,
whoa, Steve.
No. What I mean is those shows and stuff. I'm just trying to give myself a little bit of like grace here, because those kind of shows, like, it's not like I'm like sneaking behind her back so I can watch Westworld, the sexiest show on TV. No, it's not like that. Or I'm on the treadmill and it's totally impossible to be like running and be like,
no,
this is super hot right now. Like, you just can't do that.
Is that my heart rate?
So anyway.
Or is that just less?
It's just not a thing that happens. So anyway. Now that I've fully embarrassed myself, Otto, you've been watching Vikings lately, and Alicia, you had a question about it?
Yeah. So he's in the 4th season, and I don't know anything that's happening in Vikings, and so I do this really awful thing.
Did I say Westworld? I meant to say Vikings. Did I say Vikings?
No, you said Vikings.
Oh, good, great.
But I do this really awful thing where I like to heckle his show. Really, really bad.
It's the best.
It's just because I don't understand, and because I don't understand, it's not good, so I must make fun of it. Because American attitude, right? That's the American thing to do. And there's so many characters, and it's kind of like a Game of Thrones-y situation, where there's just a billion characters, and, this dude's having an affair with this girl, and this guy's, having an affair with his son's wife, or it's stuff like that. So it's pretty Game of Thronesy in that way. But there's no nudity. But all the names are
biblical if you've read the Corinthians.
That's true.
Anyway,
but there's
the Old Testament.
The Old Testament is pretty Game of Thronesy.
It's pretty rife with that kind of craziness.
Yeah.
But
I think because a lot of times when Christian movies come out, they try and censor a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think if they actually made a biblically accurate movie, it would be really interesting, because that's what is actually in the book.
Well, here's the problem is, like, I'm sorry.
We need another Kirk Cameron Saves Christmas too, Steve.
Geez. The problem with those movies is that, and this is actually the problem with any kind of art that is intended to make a statement. Most of the time, like, you got to focus on the art first and the statement as a secondary thing. If you're writing novels, you don't want the theme of your novel to be the just super heavy-handed and like, oh, this is obviously about fathers shouldn't beat their kids or whatever. Like, that can be part of it, but it's not an interesting story if it's so obvious that that's what it's about. Yeah. The same goes for, like, comedy. Like, if all you're doing is opining and just doing this crazy, getting up on stage and saying, these are my opinions, like, nobody cares about that. It's got to be, like, funny first, right? It's got to be a good story first. And the same goes for movies. Like, it has to be a good movie first. And the problem with, like, sort of quote-unquote Christian media for a long time, and it's actually gotten kind of better in the last little while, except for in the place of movies. I've never seen, like, a really good quote-unquote Christian movie. Yeah. Besides, that movie about Jesus that Mel Gibson did. That one was really good. Yeah. But anyway, outside of, like, your few outliers, they aren't very good because the focus is first. It seems like a lot of times in those cases, the focus is we need to get our money from our primary audience first, which is like American
So it's really pandering. So it's just like, obviously, like, well, like you have in a movie that's like, oh, abortion's wrong, and here's this story about this mother who's thinking about, having an abortion, and obviously here comes main super awesome, like, Christian savior complex character who's going to come and save this woman with his good old-fashioned Jesus. Right. And there's no other outliers or complications happening whatsoever. Right. So it's easy to, like, package that up, send that out, and
what would make a more interesting movie is what happens after that lady got an abortion? Like, how does her life work now? That's like a really complicated thing, and you could imply a lot of themes in that and make them Christian themes, but it has to be about the movie first, right? And about that story first. So I feel like, I don't know why we're on this tangent. We still haven't gotten to Otto yet, but that's the problem. So it's often about, like, pandering first and then about having quote unquote the right message and then maybe a little bit of a movie in there somewhere.
So this is going to sound really awful, but Christian movies and porn are very similar in the fact that there is one thing that they want you to take away from it, and it's not good. Like, it's not good. It's not like if you were to watch a pornographic movie. Right, sure. Like, the acting is terrible. You know what's going to happen. It's all going to,
everything's going to tie up the same way.
Exactly. And it's the same with Christian movies. So, if I may make that statement, and we probably lost at least 5 more followers.
That, actually, I sort of like when people, like, pick at their own sort of subculture, right? Like, I'm into it when people do that because I'm like, yes, we must be self-inspective. Yes. We must think about, we must introspect frequently. And so I like it when people are like, the way we've done movies is really bad. Yeah. And actually, it's pretty much the same as porn. Yeah. And it's like, oh man, that's so shocking. Gets right to the point.
Confessions. We're the shocking podcast.
I know, seriously,
we're just a couple of shock jocks over here.
We got our confessions down. Learn from this audience. Yeah. Learn from these confessions.
Anyways, all that to say,
Otto's been watching Vikings and you heckle it.
And I heckle it. And do you have anything else you would like to say?
Yeah, tell us about tell us a story about Alicia heckling Vikings, or at least an anecdote.
It's like, I don't know. It's the worst because it's really, really good.
The show is really good, or the heckling?
Not her heckling. Well, I don't know. You guys were talking about kind of ethnic backgrounds. Well, watching Vikings, it's kind of me connecting with my ethnic background if we're going way, way back. So I like it for that reason, but I think she doesn't get it because she doesn't really realize the premises of what the show is. It's historically accurate, but it's not being made as in like a Viking documentary. It's based off of the Viking sagas, which were written about 200 to 400 years after the Vikings. I don't know why I keep looking at the mic like
No, I do that too. It's fine.
But, so all the way till season 5, I think might be spoiler alert for people who haven't watched it.
I haven't.
I think season 5 might be the last season with Ragnar Lothbrok. But for people who don't know, he's the main character of the TV show. And he was kind of he was a real person, but he was kind of the pioneer who kind of launched the Viking Age. So before he kind of went out on it, they would always sail east into Russia, and not even into Russia, but kind of other Scandinavian villages, and just kind of pillage and plunder their own people. But Ragnar kept hearing of this new god and kingdoms out west, which nobody had ever sailed before. So he was kind of a curious kind of a guy.
Sure.
So he found a way to build boats that weren't really super like stiff, where they would like bash up against waves. That if you actually look at them, they are really flexible, and so they actually kind of move like ripples on top of the water. So they were able to go way far out sea, unlike anybody else were before. So
the show's kind of like the story of the Vikings discovering the Americas.
This is even before then.
Okay.
So like discovering England then,
yeah,
essentially?
they go over and discover
UK,
England for the
say.
first time, and kind of that culture clash of this really, I don't want to say barbaric, because that's something Christians would like you to believe about it, but this very different culture that comes over and kind of clashes with the Catholic Christian culture that is Europe at the time. And it's really good.
Interesting.
I mean, the acting's really good.
But to recap, Alicia's heckles are not that good.
Oh my gosh. She's just like, here's this bearded guy just walking in, freaking...
You wish your beard was like that,
pillaging
Otto?
people all the time. And I'm like, that's not what's happening right now.
I always vote, or not vote, but I always, cheer on for the English or whoever the Vikings are fighting. I was like, get him! Yeah, kill that main character. He was stupid anyways.
Nice.
So, I like to do that. Sort of.
Nice. All right, we are at about time. We're about time for 2 40-minute episodes.
But to the listener, this is the end of the seventh episode. Yeah.
Woo!
Movie magic.
Oh man, I'm really nervous about episode 6 though. If you tell us what you thought of one episode ago,
yeah.
I'd really like to know, actually. I love to get
episode.
feedback from people who are listening to the show. Just about, is it funny? Is it boring? Clearly the Amazon crap wasn't funny last time. Thanks, everybody.
We should just remove that game and then just not talk about it.
No, because here's what we should do is if we're going to play that, if we're going to do that one, prepare beforehand and find some reviews and some stuff we want to talk about with those reviews.
Or we could read the Amazon reviews and then just that's it. Because apparently that's what people want.
That's what they want.
That's what they want us to just read the reviews.
That's all. From what I get from the feedback is people just want us to go on websites and read things.
Yeah.
So
we can do that in our free time, okay? We don't need you to tell us what to do.
All right.
Anyways, this has been Plain Donuts. I'm your co-host, Alicia.
I'm your co-host, Steve. Thanks for listening. We actually really love you, Kay. Goodbye.
Goodbye.